That's Some Nights by Fun. It's right here on Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Skipping rocks. I don't know what I'm calling this yet exactly. It's going to be along these lines, something to do with this, because this is kind of my whole analogy, and it sort of hit me recently. Any one of us that's trying to get better at law of attraction, any one of us that's trying to get better at meditation, any one of us that's trying to get better at basket weaving, anyone that's trying to get better at martial arts, any of these things, they're all similar. Reiki, healing, like all these different concepts, doing tarot reading, psychic stuff, whatever you're into, whatever your soup du jour is, this technique is a great analogy into kind of how the process works as we're learning it, as if you're teaching someone something for the first time. So the reason I like the skipping rocks concept, it's like maybe trying to teach a younger sibling, maybe trying to teach a child for their first time how to skip rocks, right? The whole concept of skipping rocks and everything that goes into it. And what this, in my mind, kind of spells out a really neat illustration for how our movement through law of attraction understanding, our movement of manifesting things, manifestation, our movement through meditation, our movement through Reiki or healing, or there's different energy healings. So there's probably all sorts of healing techniques that whatever. Martial arts, maybe swimming, like any number of things. And it all starts with the first kind of understanding the basics of it, the concept of it. So in the case of skipping rocks, you're explaining to them the kind of rock you're looking for. You don't want a jagged one, you don't want one of those crazy rocks that are going to hit the water and just immediately start to tumble or immediately just go straight in because of how they're shaped. You're looking for those river rocks, those flatter. They're kind of smooth on both sides, right? You know, kind of longer a little bit and kind of just flat. And kind of explain to that. And then now you're focused. Now you're looking for a specific kind of rock amongst all the other rocks. You're looking for that thing that's going to work for you. Not sure exactly what it is. You've had it explained, but here you are about to try it. So you find a few rocks, collect them in your arms, and you walk up to the water. Now the person that's teaching you kind of goes and says, all right, so here's how it kind of works, right? You take your rock and you kind of throw it like this at this angle, and ting, 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 as it goes across. Now you've skipped rocks. Pretty cool, right? And they're like, wow, that's really neat. And you walk up, and maybe your first one, you throw it, and you kind of throw it out too far, and it starts to spin and twist a little bit, and then it just goes straight in because of the angle, right? And maybe you try and you throw it too close, and it just goes straight into the water because it was too steep an angle. And then eventually you kind of get one out there, and it skims, and ting, and bam, and then it kind of goes in, but it did it a few times. And you're like, all right, I remember that kind of rock. I remember what was working for me. I remember what I was doing. So you go back, and you get more of those types of rocks. You have more of those types of experiences. You do more of those types of katas. You do more of that type of activity because it's working for you. Doesn't matter what's working for someone else. Doesn't matter what's working theoretically on paper. What's mattering is what is working for you, because based off of how you throw it and how far out you go and just the spin that you put, like your characteristic is what makes your throw unique, and certainly your likelihood of success is something that you're trying to fine-tune. And so as you keep this searching process going, as you keep looking and trying to get better at whatever it is that we're trying to do, manifesting certainly in a lot of cases for like the core audience, right? For a lot of us out there, we're trying to get better, and we're trying to figure out why. And there's all these different techniques, all these different kinds of rocks. There's not one technique that's right. There's not one rock that's right. In fact, there's many rocks that will work. Some of them not so good for you. So find those rocks. And as you find those rocks and get better at finding those rocks, so now you go out and you gathered up 5 more stones, right? 5 more rocks, and you think these are better ones. And you find that out of those, 3 of the 5, you did really, really good. The other 2, you kind of threw them funny. And you sort of realize, ooh, so it's not just the rock, It's also my technique. It's how I'm throwing it. Because those two, I kind of threw them and they sort of spun a little and they just hit the water wrong and it doesn't work. So I take my understanding of the rock and now I take my understanding of the technique and I start melding it together and I start getting a form and a technique and a way to do this that starts to generate success. So I go and gather some more, grab a few more stones. This time I just grab a few because I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing and I'm not planning on doing a bunch of tries. I'm planning on having some successes. So I grab a few because I'm eager to get back. And I get back to the water and I stand there and I throw the first one, a little shallow, but it skips still about 7-8 times. And it's like, wow, I didn't even throw that good, but I got some pretty good results out of it. And this time you correct. You correct for all the things you were doing wrong, and you throw it again, and ting, 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 ting. And the last few, it's always like really fast, right? Just like skids across and then sinks. And you think to yourself, that was awesome. You've reached that level of mastery. You've reached that level where you know how to do it. You've got the technique that works. You know how to demonstrate it to yourself at least, but certainly potentially to others. In the case of skipping stones, it would be nice. In the case of manifesting, I don't recommend talking about it. Many of us say that. We don't recommend talking about it while you're trying to manifest. Not a good idea. But again, if you're trying to get better at driving, sports car driving, right, you're going to get better. Practice will become evident. Martial arts the same. You're going to go through your ranks. You're going to become better. Your punches are going to become a lot more solid, the form, whatever, right? So all those things are going to work out. So as you get better and better and better and you work down that path, you get that level of mastery. You get to that place where you've learned it. You understand it. And for a lot of us, and a lot of people in my audience for sure, you get to that place where you're now ready to teach it to someone else. Because now you understand it. Now you've demonstrated it. Now you know it. So it's a lot of our turns to walk up to that little child and teach them how to skip rocks. You'll talk about it. You'll go over the concepts of it. But ultimately, you'll show them how to do it. You'll demonstrate what it is that you're talking about. It won't just be a bunch of fancy words. It won't be pages in books. But it'll be actual action that they can witness that will show them that what you're talking about is true. That is when you've taken it past the point of mastery. And it's a beautiful place. And you are now a rock skipping champion. Hope the analogy works. I kind of liked it. I don't know. I always say, though, careful who you call teacher. And no matter who that is, even if it includes me, double, triple check, right? Like, if it doesn't feel right, don't go with it. There's a lot of people that'll say things that they think others want to hear. I think there's some people that are willing to say the truth, at least their version of it. Some people are willing to do the best they can with what they know. It's kind of where I fall into, whether the truth or not. I'll be honest. There's times where I tap dance around certain topics that I know will upset certain people, but I still like to kind of go in that direction, right? Like to plow through it a little bit. I don't know. See how it plays out. Skipping rocks. Great way to become a master at these wonderful techniques. Going out with a great song, oddly, by the Talking Heads, called Take Me to the River. It's right here on Dan Radio.